Hello and welcome back to another episode of Octo Rex, featuring everyone's favourite 8-foot handsome reselling octopus, me, the disgruntled octopus. Hello! And today we're actually focusing on a video that was released by Tory, the Geelong Flipper. So Tory released a video a couple of days ago regarding a suspected scam that he was, I suppose, on the end of on his eBay account. I'm not going to lie, when I first seen it pop up on YouTube, I was a bit apprehensive because, realistically, every man and their dog on YouTube does a scam video, which more often than not doesn't dissipate past, it's been held up by the post office for a couple of days. But as Tory's video did play out, it was quite evident that it was a scam, actually. And I have had similar situations in the past where things like this have happened to me also. And I know other people that I speak to in the reselling community as well have that happen as well. So what I will do is I'll play Rory's video. I'll stop it in certain points and add my 2 cents of commentary like I do every other time. And towards the end, and probably after the video as well, I'll give you a bit of a background story as to a scam that I'm actually, I suppose, that I'm being exposed to at the moment from someone from an international perspective. And I will tell you what I've done so far and what I plan to do in this sense to squash it in its tracks. Without further ado, we'll click on the button and get Tory up here so he can explain himself.
Victoria, Australia, they're not that mean. I mean, sometimes I guess they could be, but I'm not on the street that often.
I'll tell you what, if eBay keeps going the way it's going, I'll be on the streets or working on them.
What we talk about is reselling on eBay, how to find things to turn them over to make a profit, and how to get the most out of our eBay experience. I'm also now a top-rated seller on eBay and have been for some time.
I've talked about this previously numerous times. Top-rated seller should be the base standard for eBay. If you've just created a brand new account, you would probably be above standard. Once you get to a sales threshold, I think it's $1,000 and X amount of transactions, that someone would be in the comment section below to tell me what it is. You become top-rated after 3 months. That's what you should aspire to. Definitely don't fall below standard because your eBay selling journey will most likely be over. 99.9% of the people that I've spoken to that have fallen below standard have quit eBay because it is too hard to claw your way back. Your account will most likely get suspended unless you know what you're doing, unless you know how to get below standard. And depending on how many items you sell, it could take 3 months or it could take a year to get past that.
And I've been a member of the eBay community for over 25 years. Seriously been reselling for about 7 or 8 months and really seeing what eBay has to offer when it comes to reselling and setting up my own business. So
I suppose some people might know that I'm actually, that follow me previously, that I'm starting a little side business venture just to move away from eBay, just so obviously to keep, don't have all your eggs in one basket. So I suppose I'm a little bit apprehensive when you see all these people, shine, lots of love and affection on eBay. Tory in his latest video that I've seen, is basically, shoveling the praise on eBay. I wouldn't necessarily go that far. He does call them a business partner. They're not a business partner. Don't joke yourself in any capacity. They are a supreme overlord, even more powerful than myself. Hello. But so do not treat them like a business partner because they will not treat you like one.
I thought to myself there's a lot of people on YouTube, and now I guess it's me too, but there's a lot of people on YouTube who lie.
Yeah, don't. I learned the hard way, Tory. Don't say that because you'll have your people come after you with pitchforks and torches. I do agree there are a lot of people that embellish. Certain people that I may have reacted to previously may embellish a lot. And there's also, I suppose, Tory is guilty of that as well. It was actually a TikTok video he released a couple of days ago regarding a Bolo video game that he picked up for $5 or something, a couple of dollars, and he thought it would go for $100. It was a $10 PlayStation game, if that, with free postage.
Or they big note themselves, or they give you incorrect information. So I'm going to tell you stuff, and I'm going to say, "Hey, I'm not an expert," and
I'll let you know a little secret. Unless you're hearing it directly from eBay, no one's an expert. Everything that you watch on YouTube, my channel included, Grumpy Granny, Tories, everyone, it's their own opinion. It's speculation more often than not. So unless you get it directly from eBay, and even then I'd probably take it with a grain of salt, everything's speculation. Not everyone knows everything, so do your own research.
And it's probably in 20 odd years my worst experience on eBay. Someone tried to scam me. It got nasty. And because I am the business, I was like making sure that I wasn't being nasty. So,
and I think that's the biggest point. Like, what you will find straight away is that if it's a scam unfolding, and this is not all the time, but they'll be very apprehensive. They'll be very aggressive. They'll demand their money back straight away, even, with tracking all these different things. So, if the item was supposed to be delivered on the 1st of May and it's now the 2nd of May and the tracking saying that it's been held up or it's in transit to the next location or something along the lines of this, they'll reach out to you and want to demand a full refund and all these different things. That's not necessarily a scam playing out in that respect, but you will find that they'll be very aggressive, and they'll just, hopefully you'll fold over and give them their money back. Under no circumstances give their money back. So
I had a video game. It's a very rare game. It's by From Software. If you're not into video games, that'll mean nothing to you.
From Software creates my beloved Dark Souls and Demon Souls. I love you From Software.
But they make exceptional games. I had someone make an offer, and I think I had a 20% off deal on my store, and that will be something we do talk about too, eBay stores. The person who bought it has got feedback. They're not a new eBay person, at least as far as I can see, and their feedback's...
You will find that, I suppose, over my time of selling on eBay for quite a period of time, is that I'm finding that scams are more being done by people that have an established account. So they might have joined eBay in 2015, for example, but haven't had any recent transactions over the last 12 months. So if you go to their feedback, it'll say more than a year ago for the last feedback transactions. My suspicions is that they're probably hacked accounts. So basically someone's hacked their password or got their stuff off the dark web, logged into eBay on their behalf and starts buying things and having it redirected to them. Or potentially is that they're just scum. Either or, take your pick.
Relatively good. I've since blocked them. We're going to get to that. Only way
Always block anyone that resembles a scam or gives you an odd feeling in your stomach. Ask too many questions. By questions, I mean stupid questions. Just put them straight in your block list. Don't don't give it second consideration. I know Blake has been caught out before. He has mentioned that where they'll reach out to him and say, hey, look, this is the case. Can you unblock me so I can purchase the item? And it's resulted in negative feedback. If you have a gut feeling and trust it and block them.
They're going to find out about this as if they somehow watch me talking about it. That's why I won't identify them, because they deserve their privacy as well. They bought the disc. And I always send everything tracked. And this was important, guys. And you know how I keep telling you send everything tracked? Well, I was starting to think maybe I wouldn't send stuff tracked anymore.
So the reason why I left this little bit in here for, and I did cut a lot of Tory's of content out. I think it was about a 25-minute video, and I cut it down to about 6 or 7 minutes. The reason why I left this part in for is because a lot of people, myself included, they have a certain threshold or a certain... I suppose risk tolerance for tracking untracked. It's getting to the point now where there's really negligible between tracking and untracked, because personally I'm spending $3 for stamps to send things untracked. I only send things untracked under the $20 to $30 mark, depending what it is. If it's a high risk category such as video games, something along the lines of that, I will check the members' feedback and also check the feedback they have left for others. If I see a sea of red for feedback for others, I will send that item tracked, regardless if it was a $10 video game and it's going to cost me $12 to send it tracked. It is better to add that person to your block list, give them, go it above and beyond, lose money on the transaction if you have to, than suffer the negative feedback and suffer the stuff that Tory will go into in a second. Because, like I said, more often than not, those people you'll see in their feedback is they'll say something along the lines of this: never arrived, seller was a scammer, and it'll be just the same comment over and over and over again. So be mindful of keeping out for that, especially if offers. What Tory said a bit earlier as well is that he had a 20% coupon running at the moment, and they sent an offer or a sales markdown, and they had an offer on top of that. When I'm doing markdown events, obviously not coupons, but the markdown events, I don't entertain offers unless it's been sitting for a very, 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 very long time.
And thank goodness I do. And I sent it in a hard cardboard envelope. I screwed that up 3 times, so that's why you're hearing me enunciate.
Oh, Tory, if you could only imagine how many times I've had to do the takes on this video.
Yeah, now. And it went up to New South Wales, and I could see on the tracking. And in any case, I get a message on eBay from the person saying, hey, the item hasn't arrived yet. He left negative feedback as he was asking me for help because he said I didn't, he hadn't got his thing.
And that's what they'll do. Whilst I don't promote my course of action, so what happens is that I suppose my level of caring is dependent on on the customer's attitude. So hypothetically, if they reach out, Mr. Octopus, I haven't received my item, can you please chase that for me? Realistically, if it's an untracked item, so like I said, if I've sent a video game untracked for any reasons, I'll check the tracking to give it the threshold of saying, hey, look, it's going to arrive between this and this period. Let me know if it hasn't arrived by, just say it was supposed to arrive on the 1st of May. If it hasn't arrived by the 3rd of May, let me know and I'll chase that with the post office. Just kind of, buy yourself some extra little bit of time just to make sure that letter gets through there because it's a bit slower in that regard. If it's a tracked item and, I can see it's still in transit, I'll reach back and say, hey, look, Tory, I've just checked the tracking, which you could have done by yourself, but hey, look, I've checked the tracking. It's currently en route to the next post office. I would expect that it'll probably be delivered in the next couple of days. If it hasn't, been received, probably 2 or 3 days, please let me know and I'll reach out to the post office and launch an investigation. If they leave a negative feedback in any, like what Tory says here, is my attention to detail probably will slide. I won't be nice. I'll just say, the tracking has been updated. It's currently en route to XYZ and leave it at that. There'll be no niceties because as far as I'm concerned, the transaction's over as long as they don't, if they open up a return case, they open up all these different things, that's fine. I'll take care of those. I'll take the return, as per my policy. However, the niceties end. If they're not going to be willing to at least entertain talking to you before leaving negative feedback, I will just put the straight on the block list and I'll get on the customer service and say, hey, look, the item's still in transit or whatever you need to do from there. But like I said, don't entertain these people. Don't send them feedback revision requests and don't try and pander to them. Add them straight to the block list, get onto eBay and just basically say, hey, the item is in transit. It's not due to arrive for another couple of days, blah, 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 blah.
And as he was doing that, but not even giving me the opportunity to help him, he'd already submitted a item not delivered to eBay, and he was trying to get his money back.
So I do have a bit of a head scratcher with this one. Is that and I haven't been au fait with eBay's policies in the last couple of days. Is that I thought that you couldn't open an item not received case until past the tracking window. So if it's saying like going back to the 1st of May, if it was supposed to arrive at the 1st of May, you wouldn't be able to open up an item not received until after the 1st of May. So I'd be quite curious to see how long Tory, if he waited to send the item or did he, send it within his handling time? Was it, slowed down by Australia Post and all these different things? But definitely could be, like I said, with the exception of, if Tory did, had a 2-day handling time and didn't send it for a week, that's on him, which doesn't excuse the scam in any case. But however, if Australia Post slowed it down, that's grounds to get the negative feedback removed.
And alarm bells have gone off. And I'll tell you why. Because on the tracking, I saw it had been delivered. My service said, no, item was delivered. We're not going to refund you your money. The tracking shows it was delivered. And I thought, thank goodness. A day later.
So that's generally what happens, right? So what they'll say is that, yes, it says it's delivered. However, I don't have it, so I want my money back, or I'm not received, and all these different things. Your obligations as a seller stop as soon as that item's delivered. It's Australia Post. By all means, you can raise a case on the buyer's behalf. And like I said, going back to what I said previously, depending on how they react and how they come at you, if they leave negative feedback saying, hey, look, the item was supposed to be delivered, it says it's delivered and I haven't got it, negative feedback. Cool, no worries. If you go to the post office and lodge an investigation, they'll find it for you. And just like I said, but however, if they're calm and collected and say, hey, look, Mr. Octopus, I bought this item. It's saying it's been delivered, but I haven't received it yet. Can you please do some research? I'll launch an investigation with the post office. So I suppose out of all the times it's happened, 99.9% of the time, it's probably sitting in the letterbox, or it's sitting in a parcel locker, or it's sitting at the post office waiting for them. That 0.1% of the time, it's actually just being delivered to someone else's address, and it normally makes its way down to where it needs to go. that 0.1% of the time, it becomes a bit more complicated, and I will talk about that in a future episode. But like Tory was saying, if it's delivered, eBay will shut it down and say, hey, look, it's not your responsibility. If it's been stolen out of their letterbox, that's not your responsibility. Do not refund their postage. That's their obligation. Australia Post has met their obligation. You've met your obligation as a seller. If it was being stolen off their porch or stolen out of their letterbox, there's nothing you can do, and under no circumstances refund their money.
He comes back with the items damaged. He's gone from it never arrived, I don't have it, to all of a sudden he magically has it, but now it's damaged. And he shows me the case in the photo, and the case is busted. I went, I am so terribly sorry, but I did not send it to you in that condition.
And what Tory was saying there is that if it is a true scammer, and this is the point where I actually twigged onto what they're actually doing, right? And this is the purpose of the reaction video, is that they'll escalate it. What they'll do is originally they'll, have the fingers crossed that you don't question it. Tory might be, I haven't checked his feedback or I haven't checked his account. He might be, I suppose, a generic under 100 feedback, or just, a brand new account in a sense of a scammer's eyes. I found that as soon as you get to about 100 or 200 feedback, the scammers disappear more often than not. So basically, though, the messages you'll get saying, hey, look, can you please send this to an alternative address, or my brother will come pick it up in 3 months' time, or something along the lines of that. All those messages disappear after a certain period of time once your account matures a little bit. However, you still be mindful of these people that come around and try and use extortion or different things. But this guy, I would have been straight on the offensive with, because leaving negative feedback would have pissed me off straight away. That he would have been declared war on octopus kind and felt the wrath thereof.
And by the way, you said you didn't have it. Now all of a sudden you do. So where was it? To which he never answers to this day. He doesn't tell me where he found it, because he always had it. And I think some of the things, it's difficult sometimes, especially if you're running this for income and not just for a little bit of fun, is, the customer is always right kind of thing. They're not always right,
So that quote is attributed to, and I will put it in the description field below, because it's actually incorrect. A lot of people misinterpret it. The customer's always right. It's the exact opposite in the quote. But what Tory's relying on, or what he's referring to, is that a lot of these scammers, they put pressure on you. They try and push it across and say, hey, look, you screwed me over, or this was going to be a birthday present and it's got blemishes, or the case is cracked, and all these different things. Especially in the case of this $100 game, I wouldn't even entertain it. Say, all right, no worries. Sorry that it arrived in that condition. Please return it for a full refund. And that is where the conversation ends. Don't entertain it. If they basically keep coming back to you like they do with Tory a little bit later, just copy paste. Please return for a full refund. Please return for a full refund.
I'm not always right, but
I am.
This guy was just so obviously dodgy, like the disappearing game. It's reappeared. There's something wrong with it now. The guy just wants his money back. But then he says, look, it's pretty damaged. Can you just give me a full refund? You won't want it back. You can't resell it. And I thought, no.
That would have been an alarm bell straight away. I would have went straight to eBay if that was the case. I would have said, look, this is what the buyer said. Can you please force a refund, a return? Because they, like I said, that they'll kind of put pressure on you, and they'll try and make you think it's not working. They may send you a picture of the game, in the console, where it says that it's completely scratched and you can't use it, and all these different things. What I normally tell them to do in that situation is I tell them to, send me a video of you putting it into the console, booting the console up, then testing it from there. Because what will happen, and as long as there's no edits or no cuts, then that gives me a bit of an idea. And even then, I will get them to send it back. Because more often than not, if they're fishing for a partial refund, they're fishing for a discount, I suppose, or a refund in entirety. They're not going to do the extra steps to prove that there's something wrong with that game. If there is something legitimately wrong with that game and they do what they say, yeah, no worries, thanks for that, I apologise, please send it back and I'll take care of the refund.
I do offer refunds, absolutely, but you do have to send them back to me. And then I'm like, before I know it, he's put in another claim with eBay. And all of a sudden, $96 is being held in my account by eBay while they investigate.
So what they've done there is actually opened up a item not as described case, which will hold the funds for the purchase. So, $96 in this case, is that's what's probably what the postage and the item cost was. So eBay will actually freeze that funds. They'll put it on hold. You will find, well, me personally, and as I say, a fair few other people that I speak to as well, is that your traffic will stop, your sales will stop, and all these different things. Almost like eBay's subliminally pressuring you into resolving that case in the sense of refunding the buyer to, obviously turn the tap back on for your, for your sales, for your traffic, and all those different things. That's just an octopus conspiracy theory. By all means, put it in the comment section below if you do encounter that, or you do feel that way. Because, like I said, that Tory is quite shoveling the praise on eBay. I don't think they deserve it, but hey, look, it's better the devil you know.
Now, I contact eBay customer service, and this is something that you need to do. You need to take a breath like I did at the time. Let eBay help you. Their customer service department, I found, for the most part, is pretty darn good. Though, having said that, I haven't had a lot of issues on eBay.
I could tell that by the saying that they were pretty good. The way they handle the customer service on eBay, especially the chat, is be overly praising, overly helpful. Compliment them a lot, because what I find is that if you compliment them, ask them how their family is, ask them how the day is. Hopefully, they're having a nice day and have a nice weekend or whatever it is. They'll be more inclined to help you. If you, like Tory was saying, take a pause and reattack it for a couple of minutes. It's not their fault. Like I said that in a previous video, is that they only work there. Like I said, that they don't particularly care if they resolve your issue or not. They get paid regardless. So give them a reason to want to help you.
Thank goodness. I spoke to via keyboard, spoke to the customer service people, and I said, look, I've got a bad feeling I'm being scammed. This person said they didn't receive the game. All of a sudden they magically received it. Now they're saying it's damaged. They won't show me a photo of the envelope or the hard cardboard envelope that I can see where it may have punctured or something.
So when he's talking about envelopes here, I'm not too sure if he's talking about a rigid cardboard envelope in the sense that it's just a flat envelope with like a bit of rigidity, bit of a cardboard on it. If I'm sending anything over, just say, every game that I sell under $50 goes in a padded mailer, just one of the ones you get from the post office. 99.9% of the time, that's fine. I've never had an issue. If it's over $50 or it's, obviously more inclined to probably break in transit, I always put it in a box. I'm always happy to pay the extra for a box. And like I was saying, is that if you send it into a cardboard, I can see why the case would be cracked. If you send it in a cardboard envelope, I can see why the case could be potentially cracked, because as soon as you put like a parcel label on these things, which he would have, because he said with tracking, it goes in with a heavy parcel. So literally this 120, 50 gram game could be, going up against 25 kilo parcels. So more protection you can give it, the better.
I need to know these things in case I'm not packaging stuff well enough. I know I am, but things have made international trips successfully. He's threatened to damage the game, and he did. He threatened to damage the game. He said,
See, this guy sounds unhinged, and Tory's no better. No, I'm joking. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, is that constant escalation in the sense of, he's trying to, get to the point where, it's too hard to deal with this person. I'll just give him his money back just to get rid of him. I'm sick of investing in this thing, because this person, there are complete Reddit threads that are, designed to, teach you how to cheat on eBay. So in the sense of, what terminology to use, how to use the systems, like for item not received, item not as described, and all these different things to get your money back and get the product for free. So like I said, there is a lot working against you in the sense of that. eBay is good, like he does mention, and I will give them kudos to helping on occasion. However, 100% of the time, they don't help you. It might be only 60, 70% that it actually works in your favor. So do everything you can to make sure you stack those odds in your favor.
To send this back, you will find it in a condition that cannot be resold. And I'm like, you're insane. You are insane, and he's texting constantly. So guy says to me, I'm not going to send it back, and I'm not even going to go and buy an envelope. If eBay make me send it back, I'm just going to stick the packaging label directly onto the game disc, and if the game falls out or it gets damaged, then that's your fault.
if you haven't listened to me so far, if this person got to this point, right, I would literally get onto eBay customer service straight away and say, hey, this person's being quite argumentative. Just get it documented, because what will happen is that we'll get to the point where this person, not in this particular case, but what you will find is that they'll do everything in their means to annoy you or cause I suppose mental anguish. Because previously I've had people request a return. I want my money back because the product's broken. Okay, no worries, send it back. Well, dickhead, I actually sent it. I broke it. I put it in the bin. All these different things, like as a name calling and all these different things. Well, sorry, I'm not returning it I'm not refunding your money unless you actually return the product. They just do that and all those different things. So just be mindful of that.
How about you just refund me 50%? And I won't send it back. I said no. eBay's told me to get the item back. And in the meantime, I'd said to eBay, what do I do if he's damaged this? And
so in there, basically when you do a item not as described case, you've got the option of giving a full refund without them returning the item. Sending them a postage label to return the item, or offer partial refund. So basically this guy is saying that you give me 50%, you give me $50 back, we'll pretend this never happened, go away. Going back to when this guy actually first left negative feedback, that option would be off the table straight away. I would not be entertaining it in the same civility as what Tory is doing. Like I said, that he would be on my block list straight away, and any communication would be just short and blunt and straight to the point. No niceties.
And they're like, well, if he has damaged it, let us know, and we will make sure that you are made whole again. And this is time goes past. I don't have the game, but I'm logging onto eBay and I can see the funds being held. And then one day, the money disappears. And I'm like, it didn't come to me. And I look in my messages that just popped up and it goes, found in favour of the customer. They've got their refund. I have a theory, and I could be wrong.
So the reason why and I cut this section out, is that eBay, Tory spoke to the customer service center on eBay. They basically asked them to return the product to his PO box. And what will happen is that when eBay steps in and provides a shipping label, more often than not, they'll send it to the label that you have on file, which in this case turned out to be his home address. He wasn't home at time to sign for the parcel, went back to the post office and created a bit of a ruckus in that respect. So what the issue here is for Tory, and hopefully, I don't think he explained it later on, but hopefully it did resolve itself, is that you've got 3 days or 48 hours after when the item is marked delivered to refund the buyer. If it's not done within that 48 hours to 72 hours, eBay will close the case without seller's resolution. You will get a defect, which goes towards that below standard thing we were talking a little bit about earlier. And also, the buyer will get his money back without any recourse from you, because generally that 2 or 3 day period, when it gets delivered, is for you to check over the item, make sure it's not used, make sure it's not purposely broken, make sure it's in the same state that it was sent out, I suppose, so it's not being worn or used or anything along to that, and you can respond and react accordingly. But if you don't refund, eBay will take the money, no questions asked, they'll give back to the buyer, and you could potentially have a broken product. So if you are going on leave or going on holidays or going away from eBay for any period of time, make sure you keep an eye on your returns. You can't stop them. You can't basically, I'm going to go away for 2 weeks, stop all my returns. That can't happen. But basically have someone, potentially maybe look at, doing your returns. If you've got a parcel locker or you've got a PO box or something along that, someone takes care of the returns for you. They open the parcel up. Yes, Tory, it looks fine to me. There's no damage, or no, it's completely trashed. All these different things. Take photos, do all those different things, and work via correspondence in that respect. So realistically, if you're going away, there's no way of ultimately shutting down your eBay store. I know a lot of people turn time away or extend your handling times. Just be very mindful is that returns will probably come back and bite you in the butt, especially if you have a plentiful supply and you go away for 2 or 3 weeks and you're not checking your phone. There's a good chance you could return back at below standard. Just be mindful of that.
But this is my theory, and I could be wrong. They wanted to buy the game, I believe, get it sent to their house, somehow convince me to give them a refund or for them to keep it when I held my ground because I could see it was delivered. They then went to alternate tactic, and that was, partial refunds or whatever. But they still wanted to keep the game. My thought is that they took it and they copied it. Could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, so Tory reckons that they've copied it. So they've basically done a rip of the disk, or created an ISO file, which you can, if you've got a hacked Xbox, you can use these files to play on the hard drive and all these different things. I don't think that's the case. More often than not, and the way he does explain it a little bit later, it kind of makes me think that this was probably a collector that probably thought that he could pull the wool over Tory's eyes and kind of bully him into giving a full refund. The files themselves are readily available on the websites, quite nasty, like backwater dark web kind of websites where you can download the files for that. So it kind of negates the need for you to spend $100 initially to get the game to rip it, to send it back. And I'm pretty sure that from when I checked out Tory's account, he actually takes returns. So it doesn't make any sense to me that this person would just buy for the purpose of just ripping the file to just download to play it offline. I just think that they're probably trying to get one over him, and he's bitten back, and then they've gone out of their way just to make it as difficult as possible.
I know a lot about copying games. I don't do it. I buy them on a temporary rental of the game at my expense. So I open it up and I'm waiting for this thing to be trashed. And yes, the case is cracked and broken terribly. It's almost ripped in half now. Like, the damage is so much more extensive than what...
So keep in mind that because, Tory, no fault of his own, like it's saying that the post office didn't tell him that the parcel arrived, is because he didn't, question it or didn't do any action with it for 3 days after, that he received that product. eBay's given this person their money back. So there's a good chance that this person's just going to do the same thing again. They're probably running off multiple accounts. So if eBay shuts one down because they're misusing returns, there's a good chance they'll just pop up somewhere else
than what it was even in the photos. They've torn it or done something weird to it. In any case, the good thing about it was that they had done all this stuff to the case, but I think it was when they wanted to keep it. The slick wasn't inside it. So the slick was in pristine, perfect condition. When they were damaging the case, they obviously wanted to keep the disc. So the disc was also in.
So that's the reason why I think that that they weren't using it to rip the CD. They just basically wanted to keep that game. They probably either sent them a completely trashed case, like Tory was saying, is that they probably just had just a generic case floating around. They smacked it. They've done all these different things to that case. Then they just basically put the slip in the CD in there just to prove a point that the product was damaged when it arrived. If it had been received in the post, if obviously it had been damaged in the post, the little piece of paper, which was the slip of the game, would have been completely torn or shredded or punctured. So they've actually done it themselves.
Perfect condition. I guess the point that I am going to make here is, even when these people do try to rip you off, scam you, and upset you, do yourself a massive favor. Don't overreact. Don't act poorly. Get in touch with eBay and seek their assistance as soon as you can. Don't try to do it too much yourself. This is one of the things that eBay is there for. They take their cut of your sale and they provide you with really good customer service.
I wouldn't say really good customer service, but that is a valid point. The reason why they are taking fees is, obviously providing your platform what it is and to resolve disputes between you and a buyer. More often than not, it will work in the buyer's favor, because they're probably more along eBay's lines, is they're probably willing to lose 10 sellers opposed to one buyer. It's a bit pessimistic. However, like I say, that be very mindful is that eBay is not your friend. Don't treat them as such. Just treat them as a tool to sell your products. Don't have any emotional attachment to them. Don't consider them business partners. All those different things. Just be very mindful. They are there to do a service. You're providing product to sell, and they're just the intermediary.
And considering the fact that you can hop on and type chat to someone almost immediately, there's a lot to be said for that. So thank you, eBay, for looking after me. That was stressful, though.
So that's Tory's video. It's pretty good. I'm glad it resolved itself in the end. Didn't resolve itself to a satisfactory outcome where the buyer was left with nothing and too bad, so sad kind of thing. But like I was saying is that you really need to be mindful of when you go time away, when you take holidays and all these different things. Have a fail safe. You might be 3 days into your holiday for 2 weeks, then all of a sudden you get a return request and that person sends it back straight away. You can't reach out to customer service and say, hey, look, I'm on holiday. I won't be able to process the return for 6 weeks or 2 weeks or whatever it is. They won't care. It's not their responsibility. The buyers set the product back. They're wanting to refund within, as soon as it returns. So if you're able to have someone pick up your mail on your behalf, or if you're house sitting or doing something along the lines of that, open it up, give them, let them know, if the item's perfect or it's arrived in the same state or it's in a sellable state. Maybe it might be a case of video calling them or FaceTiming, whatever you want to do, just to get an idea. Log onto a computer, log onto your phone, wherever you are, send the refund, because realistically the adverse effects of having defects far outweigh losing a little bit of money. So just be mindful of that. The reason why I mentioned earlier, the reason why I like this video, what Tory did, is that when you're selling electronics or video game consoles, anything with a serial number, when you take a photo, make sure you do a close-up of the serial number. So basically for Nintendo 3DS console, for example, I take a photo on the reverse, which basically shows the serial number in the picture, but then I actually do a zoom up close picture to show the serial number as well. The reason why I bring this up for is because I've actually got someone in America at the moment that's actually trying to scam me, saying that, hey, look, I've received this console, the left stick isn't working as intended. Can you please provide a full refund? That's actually incorrect. So I actually used that console as a testing console for the best part of a fortnight, and which I normally do with 3DS systems as they come through. I actually check them, use them to play a couple of games or run through a couple of games and make sure I'll not give the console an absolute thrashing, but I'll give it basically a bit of playability to make sure that if there's any, I suppose, shortcomings that console, I can identify them, actually put them in the listing description. So this console was immaculate. This person was actually a collector. They didn't use the console. There basically was not a single hairline scratch on the casing, which is quite rare for 3DS consoles if you're in that market. This buyer reached out saying, hey, look, I've done this. It's not working. Give me a full refund. Then going back to what I said earlier, is that I actually said to them, yeah, no worries. Send me a video of what it's doing, and when in that video, in an uncut video, flip the console over and show me the serial number, because I want to see if it matches up to the console I sent you. Being polite and courteous, because they haven't left negative feedback, like I said, more than welcome to go out of my way. And if it is a fault of the console, I won't give them a full refund. I will arrange return shipping of the product. Then all of a sudden, didn't hear anything back for 2 days. Then they're like, well, I'm busy. I'll get around to it when I can. I was like, no worries. I do have a 30-day return period. So, by all means, at any time during that period, just do that. And, obviously reach back out to me and go from there. So that was probably about 3 or 4 days ago that I haven't heard from that person, because I've put that extra pressure on them, saying, hey, look, by all means, send me a picture of the serial number with the console not doing what you're saying it's not doing. And we'll go from there. So what happens is, I've actually checked this person out. He's actually selling 3DS products as well. So either, he wasn't aware that it was region locked, even though I had it in the description that, 3DS units are region locked. He might be in the process of trying to hack it, and he could have bricked it. So in the sense of when he was trying to, give it custom firmware, he may have done something which is actually completely made the console useless, is no different to it being a paperweight. It could be any kind of reasons, all these different things. Or it could be just a console swap. So he's got a console that's not as good, or has got some faults, for example, with the left control stick, and he's wanting to swap that over. I do suspect that he's probably trying something at the moment. He's probably going to try and do it like a serial number swap or something along the lines of that. Have very clear photos when you're listing these things, right? Just be mindful that you will need to do these evidences to prove to eBay that you've done everything you can to rectify the situation, and all these different things. So if it comes to it, I will go, write a statutory declaration to say this is the console, or this console is different. Just make sure you cover yourself. As soon as he comes back with the video, I'll probably reach out to eBay and say, hey, look, this is what's going on. This is my suspicions, like Tory did, just to get that on the file. So when it does get further down the track, hopefully it will resolve itself. But that's a little bit about that. I will keep you updated in the community section on the page. But thank you again for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.